Okay, I'm going to change the jack shaft on Eride Pro SS, and we'll see how hard it is. I watched the one guy do it. I just went through here, through one of the holes in the existing pulley, put an extension on it, and then there's a swivel on it right there. So now I'm just going to hook to this right here. Make sure we're going the right way, and we'll just take it loose. You can see it. Here. So here's my little rig. This is a little rig I used to just get to that. And a long extension, but pretty easy that way. But I could have just stuck this on a little ratchet, and you probably could get it in there as well. So if you don't have a long enough extension, although it's honestly not that long. So like this one, I'll just come right in here and get it like that. But I'm just going to come in here with the 4mm and a little extension. And again, this is all just trying to get that cover off real easy. You can see it. And for the final bolt, I was able to come in there with the same setup from the other side. And we just got it off, and there we go. And then that should come out of here. So you can kind of get to things a whole lot easier. And that's it. We'll pull this off. And now here's the, at least for my Eride, this is my factory jack shaft, sprocket, and pulley, and mine has the little welds on it. So it's probably under warranty, but I'm going to replace it with a different one. This one out here from eBikeZilla, and the part number is SRT018, and this is what the pulley looks like. Feels pretty heavy. If somebody makes like a billet aluminum one, that's what I would probably go with, but this thing's steel. Seems pretty solid. Okay, I'm going to experiment here, see if I can change the jack shaft without having to take everything else back here. Not like the tires that big a deal to take off, but I'm just going to see if I can do it without taking that off. Anyway, we'll find out. Might be dumb and it may not work. So what I did is just rotated this around till the master link is right here, and then I'm just taking a little screwdriver. And the fact I have it right in here, I can kind of use the frame for a little bit of tension just to pry off. So I just stopped it right here. You'll notice it just came loose, and I can just take this off here. All right, so that's our master link. Let me get a little box here. And then we'll pull this side of the chain link. Try not to whip stuff off there. I don't know, let's see. Yeah, it does. It's really not under that much tension, honestly. It ought to come off. So, yep, there it goes. So I'm just kind of getting it started. Not putting much pressure on it, just enough to kind of slide it. It shouldn't be that hard to come off. All right, so we got the other half of the master link, or the side piece. I'm just going to push this out. You can see, and if you've never messed with a chain, this is not a big deal. You don't need any kind of special tool. And these are the three pieces that came off there on that. So I think the trick is just try to rotate your tire around till you stop the chain about right here. And then you can kind of just use just a flat blade screwdriver and pew, you just pew right off, and there we go. There's our chain. So our chain's out of the way, and next let's just look at how to take or loosen up this belt area here. We've got a 6mm that we're going to take this off with. Okay, so I just kind of loosened it. It took the tension off here. So I'm assuming when we go to put it back, we'll just kind of put something there and put pressure back on it. Now I want to take this cover off here that's covering this front pulley. All right, so this one's the 4mm, and we're going to take this little cover off right here. So there it is. It looks like there's probably something else up in here holding it. Yep, I see it. So let's put the bolt there. Let's get this guy. Okay. So we got these two, and that gets us to this. Just a quick note for me, because I don't know what bolts go where on this thing, and I'm not assuming they're all the same size. So anytime I take a cover off or whatever, I'll set it off to the side with the actual bolts back in it. And it's same over there as well. Just something to keep everything a little organized. The belt was still real tight, even though I loosened that. So I had to loosen the whole motor. And I just went here, 6mm here, and what it looks like each bolt that holds the motor is not only a 6mm, but it also has some white paint on it, and I'm assuming that's probably the same. So if I go around the other side here, same thing, white paint here, and I just loosened this one already, and then I loosened this one here. This one has adjustments on it, you can see. I loosened all 4 of those, and it made the belt pretty loose. So it looks like we can probably just slide it off now. Yeah, see, you can see the whole motor's moving now. I don't know if you can tell, but it made this guy, you know, plenty loose now. Okay, I was able to just slide this off, and now the belt is loose here. So, thinking just probably leave it right here for now. If you're going to reuse your belt, I actually have a different belt I'm going to put on it. So that's loose. Now our jack shaft doesn't have a chain on it over there, and we don't have a belt. Okay, so next I'm going to loosen this bolt here. I got the little socket, and I think you can just take a screwdriver and tap it this way with a little hammer too. So but I went ahead and got it. We'll see if it works. It fits okay. It's kind of turning here. Okay. All right, so that came off. There's Loctite on it. Wasn't crazy tight. I didn't want to put a big impact on it. So I just tap this out. One thing you want to do is be real careful. You've got threads on here, so don't just hit it with anything. But don't push it all the way through. We're gonna put something on each end of this to hold this together, to hold the swing arm on, and not let this come apart. Because I'm trying my thing if I can keep the tire and everything on it. All right, so I have in my case, I'm just going to use this small little metal rod and just kind of drive the other one out so we don't lose it. There, I just saw it go loose, and put this in to hold this part of the swing arm so it doesn't get loose on me. This little dowel pin, you just want to push it in far enough to probably stop about where the swing arm is. There's a bushing in here, and with the Warp 9 jack shaft, it said to use the Eride factory bushing here, so we're going to reuse that bushing with this jack shaft when we put it in. But we still need to get it out of there probably when we pull this out. So again, just stop right here, and then when I pull the other side out, so here's the factory rod that goes through here, I'm going to try to stop right about, you know, where the swing arm is here. So again, you just want to leave it in far enough to hold the swing arm, but still be able to pull this jack shaft out with the pulley and the front sprocket on it. Okay, so I slid the rod out here, this guy here, all the way out to where, man, I need to move this. It's just off of this bushing. And man, it slid real easy. So you can see I got the bushing here, or the end of this out. And see, this one's still maybe grabbing. So I need to probably pull this out just a smidgen. So I got some tension under here. Yep, let's see if that did it. Nope. But this, you just kind of gotta, yeah, my hand's all in the way, I apologize. Got grass in there, but yeah, just kind of pull it out just a little bit. I can actually see it there turning. So let's see if I can go a little more, and we'll pull it. There we go. All right, there goes that bushing. So again, with the Warp 9 one that I bought, we're going to reuse those. I'll clean it up and we'll put that back in on each side. The factory Eride bushing. And it looks like this guy came out too. So on the sprocket side, I can get over there. Yep, here is on the sprocket side. And again, I had like grass and stuff in mine. And then I'm going to take that bushing right there, and we'll just pull it off, and we're going to reuse that as well. And this, if I can get it, I just kind of pivoted it around, and there's the factory bushing, and then my pulley had these welds on it, so I think it's the one that you're supposed to replace. It doesn't have the screws or anything like that. So we'll take these apart. One thing to note is that the bushings on each side of the jack shaft, the factory one, are actually different. So the longer or taller bushing is going to be where the sprocket side or where the chain is, and then the lower bushing is going to be where the belt is. So this is going to go over here. Okay, the nice thing on the Warp 9 jack shaft, it's got the bolts labeled belt side, which will be over here, and here's the sprocket side. We're going to take our old sprocket off and we're going to put it here. The good thing is the sprocket can only fit on this area here, it won't fit here, and same with the pulley that we have. It only fits on one side, so you really can't mess that up. And here's the pieces in here. And again, in the what I read about this jack shaft for an Eride Pro, you don't use the bushings that are in here. We're going to use the factory ones that were already in the Eride. So let's go ahead and I'll pull this off. This is going to be a 5mm. It's going to be a 5mm Allen head. So that's what you need, and that's the same on both sides, but we don't need to take this guy off. So one thing to note too that came in the package besides the bolt is a new rubber seal that you're going to want to put on the new one. So this is the factory one. We'll put it out of the way. Here's our sprocket. So I'm thinking it would be smart to reuse or not reuse, to use the new one that they gave you. One thing that I think will work or may help you is I got a 19mm socket. At least that's the outer diameter here. This is the new little seal, and we'll just kind of tap it in. You don't want it to get all wavy and crooked or whatever. Just get it kind of straight in there, and then I'm lining this up. This socket fit on here perfect, and that's what I'm going to use, and I'm just going to barely tap it. You don't want to put much force on this at all. Okay, so we got it pretty even all the way across here, and let me clean this guy. Let me clean this guy up here. Okay, I cleaned it up. I just used some simple green and just lightly scrubbed on this, got the junk off it. Just for reference sake, my Eride Pro 2.0, I think is mine is, yeah. It's got a 14 tooth front sprocket, factory. At least mine did. And I see they etched their logo in here. I was going to do it, but it's already got one. So, okay, so we have the old jack shaft that we've taken out here. I'm not going to remove any of this. I don't need to because I have the new pulley. And then on the sprocket, hey, one thing to note, this is a 5mm on the bolts here. Allen head, 5mm Allen head. However, the new bolts that come with the kit from Warp 9 are a Torx, a T30 Torx that we'll put on there. The other thing too is we saw earlier we changed out the seal. It comes with a new seal, and that's where I used approximately a 19mm socket and just kind of set it on there so I could tap it in straight. And you don't need to like hammer crazy on it. You're just trying to get the seal seated flush in here on the sprocket. But yeah, just a few little things to know when you're going to put these together of what this is. The other thing too is my spacer, because on the box here it says use the Eride spacers that were on each side of this, and they are different sizes, so kind of make sure you note when you take it apart. But the smaller or shorter spacer is on the pulley side, and then the longer spacer is going to be on the gear side where the front sprocket is. Okay, so we got our bolts here. I got the Permatex thread locker blue. It says it can come off with just hand tools, things like that. If your bolts, if you do this and the bolt backs off, you know, comes undone on you or something, then go to the red color. That's going to be a little more aggressive, or it's going to definitely hold it better. So we're just going to put some on the threads here. I don't go crazy, it's just enough to keep it from backing out, and then we'll drop it in here. I would like self-start, I mean I would just start all these by hand first, and then if I can get this to work right, instead of trying to go in with an electric or air tool or something initially, just get them going. And when you tighten them, you're going to tighten here, 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 here. And I would just snug them up in the first pass and then tighten in the other. So I'm just kind of get it. Okay, we're just going to snug here, each one. There's probably torque specs to this, I don't know. All right, so each one at least has one little quick click on it, and I'm just gonna kind of tighten it a little more. All right, so that's that side, that's the gear side. Let's do the pulley side. Now we also have the seal to put in. So the belt side came with the seal and set of bolts on it. It also is the T30 Torx. So T30 Torx on this side as well. And we've got a seal to put in here. Might be able to just push it in with your hand. Yeah, you pretty much can. It's a little hard. We can do this and just kind of tap it. All right, so the seal's on it. This is the new pulley, and we're gonna put it in, and we're gonna do the same thing here. Loctite each one of these, Loctite blue. I'm not that worried about getting it all in the threads here. When we go to tighten it in and spin it around, it's gonna get in the threads pretty good. So we have them all started by hand. We're gonna take our T30 Torx and yeah, and I'm just gonna kind of snug it. So I go here, I go exact opposite, I go here, opposite, I'm gonna go over here. You might just eyeball to make sure you got the right pulley. This is the same diameter. Looks good, everything fit nice. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead while I'm in here and change the belt. I think I probably have like 150 miles on my bike. May not need to. Here is the original belt that came on it. It's a 560H8M Dayco. Here's another number on here, a part number 223-31059. So that's the factory belt that came on my Eride. And I don't hear about these breaking or anything too much that I'm aware of, but I went ahead and got this Gates belt, which is I think supposed to be stronger. And I guess that's their Power Grip GT4, but it's a 5.6. Gates number is 560-8MGT. And this one came from GritShift, and there's their part number SQ8577092. You might just check again before you get in there and start trying to put it on and it's like way short or something. Okay, so we're going to go back in here. I still have this pin holding this part of the swing arm. My little dowel pin over there, you can see this over here is still holding that part of the swing arm. It definitely seems like more tension over here than there was here, but you can still move it around by hand. I'm gonna push that in a smidgen just so it's almost flush with that. And then one thing to note, if you're changing the belt or whatever, that you get your belt now around the pulley. Make sure it's at least around this shaft before you go drop it down in there. For sure. So we'll set this down in there. I'm just going to pull the belt kind of out of the way, but it's still around the shaft, which is fine. All right, so we kind of have it laid down in here. The belt I've put on the pulley. Again, make sure you don't forget that. You're going to be starting this all over. And then there's the bushing right here on this side. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of little WD on it just because. There. We'll put on that. Probably won't hurt to put a little over here just to have it. All right. And okay. And we want to make sure that that's pushed in all the way that we can get it. Alright. Well, maybe the trick here is to put that side in first. Get our dowel rod started here. There. Okay. So I'm putting the gear side in first, or I'm worried about that initially. That's lined up. Now we'll put this side in here. Okay. So there we go. Now, if we're all lined up, belts on, we'll do the chain after. This guy's still holding tension here, but we're going to tap this through going that way, and we'll push the old dowel pin we have in there, just kind of holding it. And I'm just kind of working it out. This over here is falling out. I don't think I'm getting that on camera, but as I go, okay, I felt it. I felt the swing arm move, so I'm hitting something right now. Oh, you might just stick your foot in here. Here. All right, so I just stepped down on this. Mine was a little too high, so I just put some weight on it with my foot and then just hit it with the rubber hammer on the other side. That's hitting the belt. So that thing's spinning pretty nice. I like that. I would maybe spin it around some, listen for any. No, that sounds pretty good. Again, we got the chain here, we'll put it on in a little bit. But the pulley's on, we made sure our belt was there. And then we'll put the belt on and come back. So really wasn't too bad, and I was able to leave all this hooked up and attached, foot pegs on, you know, all these things, just less stuff to take off. Okay, so one thing to just be aware of too is when we took this nut off here, there was a washer under it. So you can see that. We're going to put this washer back on. I've got the nut still set up in this little socket, so we're just going to thread it on here. Feels pretty good. And I just want to check, make sure the other side's not in. There. Has little pins in it that held it on there pretty good. At first I thought it was the wrong size, but you set it on there and just kind of tap it on so it really fits in there snug. Okay, so next, let's get this belt back on, and we'll see how hard it's going to be. I don't think it's that bad. All right, we'll just see. I may have to move the motor. Yeah, see, I've got the motor moving. So, and that's this slider here. So I'm just kind of putting my finger in there and just sort of spinning it on. Just making sure it's true here. Still feels pretty good. Okay. This is all fitting good, so now we just need to tighten the... Okay, one thing to note here that you definitely want to do before you start tensioning the belt is don't do that first, because you can't get to this bolt for that cover. And it looks like, to kind of tighten your belt, just put this in here. You can see that. We're going to put our screwdriver right there, and it just moved a click and it went under that. See? And I think I got it too tight. Yeah, okay. I'm going to try to go just, okay, one click. That feels pretty good right there. So it's actually kind of cool. I was thinking about this thing, and maybe you can see the pin in here. Let's get a little light. That little pin on the top, but this little adjuster worked pretty good. I just put a screwdriver on it. So I'm gonna go ahead, just snug this one up a little so it doesn't move. This one will just get in there, and then let's do the other side. So like I said, the one thing that bolts with the white paint, and then are the ones that hold the motor. So I like to go crazy. This little driver is not that powerful. I have a bigger one, but I keep wanting to do the wrong one. So this, okay, so here's the master link. We put this little, push this piece on it. And by the way, I did have to loosen my tire to do it. I was trying to see if I could be crafty, but I wasn't strong enough. My chain's a little on the short side. I've got a bigger sprocket. And anyway, just kind of lay it in here like that, and you can push it on with a screwdriver or just little needle nose or whatever. And just kind of, if I can do this, I'm holding this camera, there we go. Just make sure it sits on there flush. That's it. So we have the chain on, and everything's put back together. As far as in here, I'm just kind of moving it some, just making sure nothing goofy. but it sounds, I'm not hearing anything weird. So I've turned the bike on, so we'll just give it a little gas. I keep saying gas. Give it a little juice. And I had to loosen my tires, so I just want to make sure nothing's weird on the tire, rubbing or anything. But sounds good. All right, let's put the covers back on, and I think that'll do it. And just kind of set it back down in here like this, and we can do the bolt up in there first. I don't have much light on this guy, do I? Okay, now you can kind of see it up in there. So I'm just going to take this off, put my extension up in here, and then we'll hook it back on here. And there may be an easier way to even do this. I mean, you could probably, the easiest is probably just put it on the end of your ratchet. Alright. So we're going to get it in there. Push this up just a little, line it up. Right now I think we're a little crooked. And I'm just doing this by hand. There we go. Okay. We don't want to tighten that yet. Let's get the other two bolts started. Alright, you should see that. Here. Let's just check it here. Let me turn my tire. Doesn't matter which way, does it? Yeah. Okay. No covers or rubbing or anything weird. I don't know, hopefully this has helped. I don't know. I put a bunch of information in here, but if somebody ever watches it and you get this far, again, hopefully it helped, and we'll put our cover on here that we did. Tried to laser a little thing on it, but it didn't work too good. Oh well. And that's it. We'll put this back together. And we're done. So really it wasn't too bad. It wasn't all that bad. Hopefully I didn't make it look too hard. All right. Peace out. Thanks.